Hello and a very good evening. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. This is the news at 6 with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe arrives in New Delhi for a 3-day visit. 98,000 crore deal to build bullet train network among the agreements to be signed. No let-up in protest by opposition Congress in the Rajya Sabha standoff over allegations of political vendetta with the government stalled proceedings in the House. National Green Tribunal orders ban on registering diesel vehicles in Delhi, directs centre and Delhi government not to buy new diesel vehicles for departments. BSE Sensex plunges 288 points to drop below the 25,000 mark. US Federal Reserve almost certain to raise interest rates next week, says RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan. And global climate talks extended by a day in Paris. Text of final compromise deal to combat global warming likely to be released on Saturday morning. Well, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe arrived in New Delhi on a 3-day visit to India. Extending a warm welcome to Abe, Prime Minister Modi said the visit will further deepen the already strong Indo-Japan ties. Soon after his arrival, the Japanese Prime Minister met the External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj. He will hold annual summit talks with Modi tomorrow. Both leaders are expected to review implementation of decisions taken over the last 1 year, particularly in trade and investment. Key agreements that are expected to be signed include the 98,000 crore deal to build India's first bullet train network. Abe will also visit Modi's constituency Varanasi after the summit-level talks. He is likely to attend the Ganga Aarti at the famous Ghat of Varanasi. Well, joining me for a chat right now is our correspondent Akhilesh Suman. Akhilesh, what's on the agenda as far as the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's 3-day visit to India is concerned?
Frank, as you remember that last year Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Japan and he visited even Kyoto, the twin city he wanted to develop Varanasi on the lines of Kyoto. So this is one of the dream projects of Prime Minister Narendra Modi for his own constituency. So he is going to definitely talk about it, how to implement this dream project. And that is why Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is visiting Varanasi, and symbolism is there to do Ganga Aarti. And other than that, they will review the whole 1 year gamut of things that has happened between India and Japan. Then what are the hurdles in taking the forward movement on the issues of especially the infrastructure development, because Japan has been skeptical about the India's changing situation on land acquisition rules, also on the some rules regarding the investment and also security of the infrastructure projects. So I think that Prime Minister will apprise him how he has liberalized the whole process of acquiring the land, and also how business can be eased through tax reforms. And there has been a tax treaty that will avoid double taxation before Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is reaching Delhi. So I think that this is one of the major things that Prime Minister has to assure Shinzo Abe, because he has also assured that he is ready to give almost 81% of loan through Japan International Investment Bank. So it will be easy for India to take the loans of Japan and develop its infrastructure. And other than the bullet trains, high-speed trains are also on the agenda when to implement, because the feasibility study of the high-speed trains has already completed, and the study has been sent to Niti Aayog Vice Chairman. So now Railway Board, Japan and Government of India has to decide that when and how to implement, and Prime Minister will apprise him that the land acquisition process has been completed almost in the railway corridor, and I think that Japan will take advantage of this situation after coming in India. Yeah.
All right, Akhilesh Suman, we'll have to leave to that. Thank you so much for joining us there and bringing us those updates. Moving on now, Friday also saw no let-up in the confrontationalist attitude of the opposition Congress in the Rajya Sabha. The standoff between the government and the opposition stalled proceedings for almost the entire day.
For the 4th day in a row, the Congress continued its offensive against the government in the Rajya Sabha, levelling the same charge of political vendetta. Party members marched into the well of the House. the 0 hour was stalled. Deputy Chairman P.J. Kurian appealed to members to allow the House to function. The Chair then adjourned the House first till 11:30 and then till noon.
I am adjourning the House of 12:00 hours.
Amid protests, the question hour was also disrupted. Minister of State for Agriculture responded to a query on checking the spiralling prices of pulses.
बस हम दालों का बफर स्टॉक तैयार करिए जो तक खरीद नहीं होती और अभी 2 दिन पहले कैबिनेट ने निर्णय लिया है कि दालों की खरीद FCI, SFAC के थ्रू की जाएगी और मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कॉमर्स के तहत को PSC दालों का इंपोर्ट बिकेगी जिससे सस्ती दाल जनता को मुहैया कराई जा सके.
After repeated appeals to allow the question hour, the Chair adjourned the House till 2:30 p.m.
House is adjourned till 2:30.
Since Tuesday, the Congress is protesting against what it calls the government taking recourse to the politics of revenge against the entire opposition. The government, on the other hand, says the Congress is holding the parliament to ransom, even as it claims it's ready to discuss the contentious issues. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the situation was more or less the same in the Lok Sabha. Congress members continued their protest against the remarks made by a BJP MP on Wednesday. They demanded an apology from the said MP, but when it was not met, members of the Congress, along with those of the TMC and other opposition parties, walked out of the House.
Lok Sabha MPs paid homage to the martyrs of the parliament attack as soon as the House met for the day. But soon after that, when question hour, Congress party raised the issue of BJP MP Virendra Singh's unparliamentary comments. During 0 hour, leader of the Congress in the House, Mallikarjun Kharge, said if Singh was unwilling to apologize, he must be suspended. TMC backed Congress on this demand.
हमारे नेताओं के खिलाफ अगर ऐसी बातें करते रहे, ऐसी गंदी बात करते रहे और अपने आप को बहुत श्रेष्ठ मानते हैं और जो कुछ वो कर रहे हैं वो बहुत अच्छा है ये कहते हैं, इसीलिए अगर आप उनको सस्पेंड कीजिए ना, वो अनकंडीशनल अपॉलॉजी पूछिए, नहीं है तो हमको कोई रास्ता नहीं. ऐसे एटीट्यूड से, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट उनको सपोर्ट कर रही है.
Let one apology be made over here. Let the House run smoothly. It is your intention, madam. I believe it that the House should run. And Mr. Khargeji, since yesterday, since 3-4 days, the matter is being discussed. House is not allowing to be run properly. We have become part of it, no doubt. But why this man is getting support from the government?
BJP MP Virendra Singh, however, stood his ground and refused to apologize. MOS Parliamentary Affairs Rajiv Pratap Rodi said to the protesting members that since Singh's remarks had been expunged, carrying on with the protest was not right.
आज हमारे माननीय सदस्य के बारे में जो बात कहा गया, आपने निर्णय लिया है, जो कुछ उन्होंने कहा आपने बाहर निकाल दिया है, लेकिन ये एक बहाना बना के सदन की कार्रवाई बाधित करना ये अनुचित है मैडम.
When their demands were not met, members of the Congress, TMC, RJD and JDU walked out of the House. The remarks by Virendra Singh came during the discussion on the drought situation in the country on Wednesday. Pranav Goswami's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the Rajya Sabha today referred the Prevention of Corruption Amendment Bill of 2013 to a select committee. The 23-member committee has been instructed to present the report by the last day of the first week of the next session.
The Rajya Sabha on Friday referred the Prevention of Corruption Amendment Bill 2013 to the Select Committee. Minister for Personal and Public Grievances Jitendra Singh moved the motion to refer the bill to the committee.
I move the following motion that the Prevention of Corruption Amendment Bill 2013, further to amend the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988, be referred to a select committee of the Rajya Sabha.
The bill provides for stronger punishment for bribery. It will now be examined by a 23-member committee headed by BJP MP Anil Madhav Dave. The motion was adopted by voice vote. The bill was introduced in the House on 1st December. It was moved for consideration on December 3rd when members raised objections to certain clauses. Opposition members sought more clarity, claiming that the provisions of the bill overlapped with the Lokpal Act.
Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the motion is adopted.
The Prevention of Corruption Amendment Bill 2013 seeks to amend the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. It provides stringent punishment for both the bribe giver and taker. Among other new provisions to check the menace, it also increases the penalty to maximum of 7 years up from the 5 years at present. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha Television.
Rajya Sabha paid homage to the martyrs on the 14th anniversary of the attack on Parliament. The House recalled the supreme sacrifice by the security personnel in foiling the terrorists.
I request members to rise in their places and observe silence as a mark of respect to the memory of those who lost their lives in that tragedy.
Memories of the Parliament attack in 2001 came alive as Rajya Sabha saluted the martyrs who were killed trying to save the symbol of Indian democracy. As soon as the House met for the day, Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari recalled the attack and paid tributes to the martyrs.
December 2015 marks the 14th anniversary of the dastardly attack on the Parliament House by terrorists. On this occasion, recall the supreme sacrifice of our security personnel. The House joins me in paying homage to these persons and in condemning this incident in unequivocal terms.
The House also condemned similar terrorist strikes and reiterated its resolve to fight terrorism with determination. The House stood in silence as mark of respect to the memory of those who lost their lives in the tragedy.
We also reiterate our firm resolve to fight terrorism with determination and rededicate ourselves to protect the sovereignty and integrity of our nation.
5 security personnel of Delhi Police, a woman constable of the Central Reserve Police Force and 2 security assistants of the Parliament Watch and Ward section died preventing the entry of terrorists into the Parliament House. A gardener and a photojournalist also lost their lives. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, it's time for a short break now, but still to come. RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan says India is prepared for any kind of market volatility vis-a-vis the US Fed Reserve rates. That and much more on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Three, two, 1, 0.
And in scientific sectors, there are many fundamental signs that can be probed only if you have very precise timing systems. USA and Canada, they already have the optical fiber links. In India, we don't have any activity at this moment. It could be that we will not be allowed to use the clocks from other continents, other countries. It's very important to develop our own clocks.
Watch Eureka with Dr. Shubhadeep Dey, scientist, MPL, only on Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. Well, another big measure to tackle pollution has been announced by the National Green Tribunal. NGT has recommended that diesel-run vehicles not be registered in Delhi at all. The tribunal has also recommended that the central and state governments in Delhi not buy any diesel vehicles. The NGT's recommendation comes close on the heels of the Supreme Court agreeing to hear a petition seeking a complete ban on diesel cars in Delhi. The case will come up for hearing on December 15th. Earlier in April, NGT had banned diesel vehicles over 10 years old in Delhi, an important step to fight the rising pollution levels in the world's most polluted city. The tribunal has also raised questions about the Delhi government's odd-even formula for cars, saying it might not have the desired effect.
किसी भी पक्ष से और किसी का कोई भी ऑब्जर्वेशन और कोई ओपिनियन आती है तो वो स्वागत योग्य है, क्योंकि उन सारे चीजों से ही एक अल्टरनेट बिल्ड होता है और उस तरफ हम लोग बढ़ेंगे धीरे धीरे और बढ़ भी रहे हैं. दिल्ली के जो और केंद्र सरकार की गाड़ियों को, सरकारी गाड़ियों को लेकर के उस पर हम विचार करेंगे.
Well, RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan on Friday said there was a 70 to 75% possibility that the US Federal Reserve will raise interest rates in its monetary policy review later this month. Rajan said the markets had already factored in the rate hike. However, the central bank, he said, is prepared to take care of any volatility. He also added that one could expect some changes in financial flows. He further said the best defense against global volatility was the domestic macro stability.
Like other emerging markets, indeed even the developed countries, one can expect that there will be some changes in financial flows taking place in the world. But given that this first change is fully baked in, one doesn't expect from this direct policy interest rate change much of an effect that is already not factored in by the market.
Well, in a choppy session, the benchmark BSE Sensex plunged 288 points below the 25,000 mark after 3 months. The NSE Nifty slipped below the 7,600 mark. The 30-share index sank 288.50 points to 24,963. With all sectoral indices led by realty, banking and capital goods trading in negative terrain with losses of up to 2.44%. On similar lines, NSE Nifty slipped below 7,600 mark, losing 96.55 points or 1.25% at 7,586.75. Investor sentiment was dampened on offloading by cautious participants ahead of the key economic data and industrial production numbers for October that are expected soon. Let's take a look now at some more updates from across the country in Nationwide. Former RJD MP Mohammad Shahabuddin and 3 others were today sentenced to life imprisonment for the brutal murder of 2 brothers 11 years ago. The 2 men were killed with acid poured on them. Shahabuddin represented the Siwan constituency in Bihar for 4 terms. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi is on a 2-day visit to Assam. He will kick off the party's campaign for the assembly elections with a communal harmony walk in Barpeta district tomorrow. He will also interact with prominent academicians and entrepreneurs to have a first-hand reading on what the Congress needs to do. 3 convicts in the Park Street gang rape case were sentenced to 10 years in imprisonment by a Kolkata court today. The 3 were also fined 1 lakh rupees each. 2 other accused are still absconding. The victim was picked up in a car in front of a nightclub in 2012 and gang raped before she was thrown off near a road crossing. The Supreme Court today sought a response from Nestle India on an appeal by the FSI against lifting the ban on popular instant Maggi noodles. FSI has questioned the sanctity of the samples provided to government-approved laboratories for the retest. It said the court asked Nestle to provide samples which should have been picked up randomly from the market. Moving on now, Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari today left for Turkmenistan on a 3-day-long visit. Then the Vice President will attend the groundbreaking ceremony of the ambitious $7.6 billion Turkmenistan-Afghanistan-Pakistan-India Tapi gas pipeline. He will also take part in events marking the 20th anniversary of the Central Asian country's status of permanent neutrality. Also on the agenda are addressing an international conference on policy of neutrality, peace, security and development. Mohammad Ansari is accompanied on the visit by Petroleum Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. He will hold bilateral talks with Turkmenistan's presidents as well. The Vice President will pay homage to Mahatma Gandhi while there. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated his bust in Turkmenistan's capital, Ashgabat, earlier this year. Well, time for another short break on the program now, but coming up on the other side, ICC announces schedule for next year's T20 Cricket World Cup. That and much more soon to come. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Get live Rajya Sabha session. News, views, reports and analysis you can trust on social media. Subscribe, follow, like Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. Well, the Paris Climate Summit ran into overtime today with a global climate deal now expected on Saturday. Conference Chairman Laurent Fabius, however, felt the negotiations are moving in the right direction despite a few gaps that still have to be bridged. Earlier on Thursday, Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar held a second meeting with US Secretary of State John Kerry to discuss the sticking points.
We are much closer.
As expected, the climate negotiators missed their Friday deadline in Paris. The clock is now ticking for the final agreement by Saturday.
À la fin de cette nuit, nous aurons l'ébauche du texte final. Et je pense, j'espère, être en mesure de proposer, comme je m'y étais engagé, demain, le texte ambitieux qui permettra un accord universel et contraignant sur le climat.
With disagreement on key issues, the final draft still needs improvement. But the square brackets indicating significant disagreement are now reduced to just 50, down from over 900 in the earlier draft. Fabius sounded positive as he proposed a new round of late-night negotiations.
Ce projet est donc plus court que le précédent, c'est une bonne chose, et il tranche sur plusieurs options, mais il laisse encore entre crochets quelques points spécifiques qui, sans mystère d'ailleurs, sont les plus complexes.
I am told, encouragingly by many people, that this is a doable and achievable, and I have not heard from anybody that who says it differently, and I am very much optimistic.
The three complex unresolved issues are differentiation between developed and developing nations, financial arrangements for the developing world, and the ambition for a global temperature target. Earlier on Thursday, Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar held his second meeting with US Secretary of State John Kerry. In a telephonic conversation, both Chinese President Xi Jinping and US President Barack Obama pledged that both countries will cooperate on climate change. Obama also spoke to the French President François Hollande to review the progress. The fresh draft has an agreement on the once formidable divide on how ambitious the deal should be to control the rise in Earth's surface temperature. World leaders have agreed that they will set the goal to restrain the temperature increase to less than 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Here's a roundup of the other international news in Global Buzz. 2 people suffered gunshot wounds in an attack on a Hindu temple in Bangladesh. 3 attackers also detonated homemade bombs, injuring 7 people. They continued to shoot at people fleeing the building. Police suspect militant group Jamaat-ul-Mujahideen's hand in the attack. Senior officials from North and South Korea met for talks today to discuss improving ties and resuming cooperation projects. These talks take place amid tensions that have remained high for nearly 6 years. The meeting was the first forum for high-level discussions after an agreement in August. The first Canadian government plane load of Syrian refugees landed in Toronto yesterday. The plane was carrying 163 refugees and will be followed by a second military airlift to Montreal on Saturday. Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau said 10,000 will be resettled by the year end and a further 15,000 by February. The Islamic State's finance chief Abu Saleh was confirmed dead by the US. He was killed in November in an airstrike. US military spokesman called him one of the most senior and experienced members of the group's network. Pakistan conducted a test of a nuclear-capable surface-to-surface ballistic missile. The Shaheen-3 is capable of a maximum range of 2,750 kilometers. A military media statement disclosed that its impact point was in the Arabian Sea and the test validated all desired parameters. Moving on to some sports news now. The ICC today announced the schedule for next year's T20 Cricket World Cup to be played in India. The 6th edition of the tournament will kick off on the 11th of March. The finals are to be played on April 3rd at the iconic Eden Gardens in Kolkata. The Indian cricket team will open its campaign against New Zealand in Nagpur on March 15th, followed by a marquee clash against Pakistan on March 19th in Dharamshala. Hosts India are pooled with Pakistan, Australia, New Zealand and the Group A winner. Defending champions Sri Lanka are alongside South Africa, West Indies, England and the Group B winner.
Well done.
Time now for some more sports news in Sports Beat. India and ace shuttler Kidambi Srikanth was knocked out of the Super Series finals after suffering a third defeat in a row. Srikanth lost 17-21, 13-21 to Chinese Taipei's Chao Tian-chen in his final Group B match in the round-robin stage. UEFA President Michel Platini failed to have his 90-day provisional ban from football lifted. Platini's request was denied by the Court of Arbitration for Sport, which means the Frenchman will not be allowed to attend the Euro 2016 finals draw in Paris on Saturday. Unknown assailants shot dead Honduran international footballer Arnold Peralta on Thursday. He was killed in the car parking in the port city of La Ceiba. Peralta represented Honduras at the 2012 Olympic Games in London. He later joined Scottish Giants Rangers in June 2013 and helped them win the 2013-14 Scottish League. That's it on this edition of the News at 6. Have a good evening.